All right, Jason Botterill, Vice President and GM now of the Kraken. Scott, as you know, the two Winnipeggers sitting right there. Jason was right from the beginning with the Kraken organization. Neat to see Matty Beniers and now a couple of the guys from that first pick. Jason, I just wanted to start. Scott, I hope you don't mind. I have a photo.
He does.
Yeah, we had an opening at the Hall of Fame for Jen, of course. November 10th is the big day. But this is us showing where the plaque is that Jen will be enshrined on November the 10th. And it's next to Shea Weber, or Jeremy Roenick's actually above Weber, and Chrissy Wendell's in below. So she'll be right there on the wall at the Hall. And she said, it's kind of neat that Jeremy Roenick's beside me for the rest of my life because, right, you know, he played a role in your life, Jason. So tell me about Roenick and why it's kind of fun for Jen to go next to him.
Well, when I was coming up in my high school ages there, my dad was working as a sports psychologist with the Chicago Blackhawks. And with my father being a university professor and my mom being an elementary school teacher, they talked a lot about college and education. So it was a situation where I was trying to figure out where I was going to play. We talked to the Roenick family. They gave me some prep schools down in New England that I went and looked at, and developed a relationship with that family, and it certainly helped out my career going to St. Paul's in Concord, New Hampshire for a couple of years, and then on to University of Michigan. So, always loved watching Roenick as a player, and for their family to reach out and help us make a difficult decision on where to play, it's something that I'll always be appreciative of. And now to have Jen and Jeremy that right beside each other, pretty impressive.
Wow.
Well, there goes the first four things I was going to ask him about.
Yeah, sorry, Scott. Very proud of, we're proud of Scott. We're proud of you, Jason. We're proud of Jen, obviously. Okay, Scott, you're on the helm.
Okay, Ron, thank you. Yes, we're pleased to welcome the second best player in the Botterill family to After Hours. Ron's right. Botterill and Oake, this is the full Winnipeg.
We got it.
Yeah.
You know, it's. Hey, I was just back there this week. It's always great going back to Winnipeg. Of course, I got an opportunity to see some of my friends. They were all dressed up in Jets gear, so not a lot of support for the Kraken there.
Winnipeg, where you grew up watching me on TV.
Without a doubt.
That's something
celebrity.
Something I like to say to younger people in the game of hockey, and of course everyone is. So how are things back home? How are Cal and Doreen? Good?
They're doing well.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone's extremely proud of what's going to happen in a couple of weeks with Jennifer. And whenever I can get back to see friends and family there, and look, the Jets coming back to Winnipeg has been such a big thing for, 15 years. But to get back there, see friends, see family, it's always, my life has taken me to a lot of different places, but Winnipeg's always home, so it's always great to get back.
Cal and Doreen, by the way, are your parents. We'll get to them momentarily. But first, there was a hockey game here at Climate Pledge tonight, and the Kraken won it in very impressive fashion. I know you had said to me this morning you were a little bit concerned about handling the barrage that might have come from McDavid and Draisaitl. Your thoughts on such an impressive win?
Well, extremely proud of our team right now. We obviously understand it's still early in the season, but to come off a 12-day road trip, I think in the game against Washington, we had 6 players out of the lineup. It was, to me, that an effort against Winnipeg, and then again tonight, and just how hard we're playing defensively. Obviously, we're getting outstanding goaltending from Joey Decord, but just you see different players continuing to step up. Today, you see Ty Karche with a couple block shots. Ryan Winterton, showing a burst of speed there. I know his brother Jake has been trying to help him out in the summer from that standpoint. So to get these younger players in our mix here, helping us out, has been great. And to win on a Saturday night against a talented team like Edmonton, certainly great for the building, great for our team.
Joey Decord, brilliant in goal, 5-2-2, the best start in franchise history. So there's that. We'll get back to the Kraken in a moment. But I'm really fascinated, Jason, by your path to this job. And that path will, first of all, take us back to 93-94 when you went to Michigan.
Yep.
As a 17-year-old, and as a freshman, you scored 21 goals playing against 20-year-olds, and that led your teammates to start calling you sir, which lasted for the rest of your time at Michigan. But where were you thinking your hockey career would take you back then?
It's a situation where I wanted to try to get to college, try to get an education and see where it went from there. And obviously at Michigan, I played with some talented players. My first year, Brian Wiseman, David Oliver. My line mates are classmates, Brendan Morrison, John Madden, Mike Legg, Warren Looning. So it's some very talented teammates there that just allowed me to continue to challenge me in practice, allowed me to move forward in my career there. And after that first year, getting drafted in the first round, you're hoping, hey, maybe some of your dreams can come true. Maybe you can eventually get to the National Hockey League there. But I think at an early age, just with my mom being an Olympian and speed skater. My dad working as a sports psychologist with a lot of different Olympic athletes. They taught us the importance of, hey, being able to wear the maple leaf. And, I had such a great start at University of Michigan my first freshman year. It allowed me to play for the World Junior team that year, and those were 3 amazing years and things that I look back with such fondness and stuff too right now. And no, it was a great time in my life in University of Michigan, getting my degree, challenging myself from a hockey standpoint, and preparing myself for pro hockey.
So that first freshman year was enough for the Dallas Stars to draft you in the first round in '94. There were 3 more standout years after that one. You finished with your bachelor's degree in economics, which would become important, but then on to pro hockey. Lots of pressure on any heralded first-round pick as you were. You played 88 NHL games in 8 years. A career, though, beset by concussions. How would you describe your pro career?
Well, it was a situation where it was great that I got to play in the National Hockey League. Maybe didn't achieve all the goals that I aspired to have, but had some amazing experiences along the way. Scoring my first NHL goal was obviously a big one. Being able to play with a lot of great experiences. Being able to win a Calder Cup with St. John, New Brunswick in the Calgary organization was something very special there too. So, I look back on it. It was disappointing that my career sort of had to end early, but it allowed me to get into this next career that much quicker and still have such amazing memories of those days.
So there was also the small matter, though, Jason, of your skating. Some people thought you might not have been fast enough, and this allegation deserves a second look because your mother, Doreen, was a 2-time Olympic speed skater in 1964 and 68. According to your bloodlines, you should have been lightning fast. What happened?
Should have been a lot faster and stuff for sure. I must have had the wrong sharpening on the blades and stuff for sure. But no, as you see, like my grandfather was a speed skating coach. Obviously, my aunt was in the Olympics. My mom was in the Olympics, and it was something that was just driven into us at a young age. Just the importance of representing your country and having those opportunities. And I think that's what drove my sister and myself to, whenever we had an opportunity to play for Canada, we certainly jumped at it. But it is very amusing, I'd probably say, that I always was sort of a step slow, and that probably limited my NHL games.
You mentioned your father, Cal, in your first answer to Ron. He is a psychologist who, as you had said, worked in the NHL. He's written or co-written 3 books, Human Potential, Perspective, The Key to Life is the second, and Sustainable High Performance. Have you read any of them?
I have read them once in a while, and the greatest thing, though, is just the experiences that I was able to partake in. I went to the Olympics in '84 and '88. Got to be in the old Chicago Stadium when my dad was working with the Blackhawks. I remember watching a game right from the organ loft there. So it's just, the one year he was working for Team Canada, being beside Lindros and Gretzky, these players. It was amazing experiences for a young kid. And
so you haven't read them?
I hadn't read those. So I was very, very fortunate childhood for sure.
I ask because one of the themes of the second book, Perspective, The Key to Life, is applied lessons beyond sport. That certainly sounds like it was written about you.
It certainly could be a part of it and stuff for sure. And look, it's I think what my parents always sort of talked about was life experiences, making sure to get the education. Certainly try to push yourself as much as you can in sports and in athletics, and specifically our passion for hockey, but to always have other things going. And we had great trips to Europe, great trips to Australia over the years from an educational standpoint. And to me, these things they just allowed it. So when something came up from concussions having to take away hockey from me, I felt comfortable. I had my education and had other opportunities to do different things.
Now, you went back to Michigan, got your master's degree. You worked briefly for the NHL, and then in '07, Pittsburgh hired you, and your career in management was underway. And now you're part of that Pittsburgh management tree. There's you, there's Patrick Alvin in Vancouver, and Bill Guerin in Minnesota. Why is Pittsburgh something of a GM factory?
One answer, Ray Shero. So I was hired the same day as Tom Fitzgerald. He was another one, and it was an amazing environment there in Pittsburgh. And I was very fortunate my second year in business school to work part-time with the Dallas Stars, and Doug Armstrong gave me the opportunity there. And then they didn't really have any opportunity there. He recommended to Ray Shero that he look at my resume, and went into Pittsburgh right off the bat with Ray Shero, Chuck Fletcher that was there. Tom Fitzgerald was hired the same day as me, and it was just an environment where Ray empowered us brought into every discussion, every decision that had to be made, and we had some great battles, some great communication things. But it was an amazing environment there, and I feel very, very fortunate to be a Ray Shero disciple.
Here's a question from Nick. Jason, how does it feel to be the second best hockey player in your family?
Oh, that's very consistent. It's definitely. And if you want to go with the athletes, my mom was a better athlete than me too. So it was a challenging coming to the dinner table. For sure.
And Cal was a pretty good player as well.
Yep. Yeah, but I still think I got him. I got him.
Well, okay, you get him. So let's get to the best hockey player in the Botterill family. Here's a video question for you.
Hi, Jace. I know you were in our hometown of Winnipeg this week. You had dinner at Mom and Dad's place, and I think back to our childhood. And you know that Dad has all kinds of stories about our experiences and amazing moments in your career. And we know that Mom always has her little laugh cry moments at your incredible achievements. When you reflect upon growing up in Winnipeg and our childhood, moments like playing basement hockey or playing on the outdoor rink at the Wildwood Community Center or conversations with our parents, are there one or two things that you think were most influential for you and your ambitions?
Well, for me, I think just growing up in Manitoba, there was always a focusing on education, making sure you took care of that. But then it was just always a situation of athletics and becoming an athlete first. And it's something that I struggle a little bit with my own daughters here now. I have two daughters, 13 and 9, who are hockey players, but I just look at the success that Jen has, and I look at my own success. I think it was so important at such a young age to be an athlete first, whether it was soccer, basketball, tennis, hockey, being in all these different environments. And growing up in Winnipeg was great. We grew up in the Wildwood Park area. Every weekend we'd go straight with our friends out to the Wildwood Community Club and play out there for endless hours. And then in the summers you go to Grand Beach and, you're playing soccer, you're playing beach volleyball, you're playing all these different things. Then, in the winters you'd also go out to my dad's, farm in Newton, Manitoba, and play with all my cousins there and stuff now too. So it was a situation and environment that just fostered, a drive and an athleticism in all our lives here. And, it's something great that how myself and my sister and Jen obviously make a step and to have a great career, but it's also amazing now how it's the next generation. My cousin kids are now in college and doing different things and playing NCAA sports and stuff too. So it's fun how it continues to go from generation to generation.
Well, as we like to point out, Jason, anyone who's anybody in hockey has come from Winnipeg. Jennifer, by the way, is 3-time Olympic gold medalist, 5-time world champion. As Ron mentioned earlier, she's about to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in a couple of weeks. You going to be there for the induction?
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And by the way, she almost missed the call. Tell us that story quickly.
Well, it was a situation where Ron Francis was trying to get in touch with her, and they were actually at West Hawk Lake visiting my parents, which was very cool that they could experience it together. But Ron could not get in touch with her. Finally, he texted me. He's like, "Can you please tell your sister to pick up the phone?" So I kept on calling her. I kept on calling her husband too, and finally got it through to it and stuff. But it was a great experience for my parents to be right there to enjoy that experience with Jennifer and get that call.
Clearly, if not for you, she's not going into the Hall of Fame. Jason Botterill, General Manager of the Seattle Kraken.